Hey, up, right, skid lids, or if you want to be posh, motorcycle crash helmets. They've been a legal requirement here in the UK since 1974. Since then, I think just about every other country has followed suit. There aren't many places now where you don't have to wear a motorcycle helmet if you're riding a bike. All well and good, we've all got used to them, but they do come with some issues, don't they? For a start, they're quite expensive. I generally spend between £350 and £500 on a helmet for a good quality helmet, depending on what it is that I'm looking for. You can pay a lot more than that. I think they go to well over £1,000. Now, they're okay while you're wearing them, but when you get to your destination, they become a bit of a liability. They're quite heavy. Generally speaking, they're a shiny, polished object that potentially can get scratched quite easily. You're also going to have a pair of motorcycle gloves, and if you've got nowhere else convenient to put them, you're going to put them inside the helmet, so there's always scope there for you losing your gloves. I've done it once or twice over the years. Actually, I did get it back. I retraced my steps and somebody had put it on top of a wall for me. But you can't always guarantee that things like that are going to happen. Generally speaking, I fasten the D-ring up and I just carry it around. But it becomes a real hassle when you're walking around shops. I mean, me and Paula like to go to places like Beverley and York or towns on the coast. You like to go and do a little bit of rummaging around in clothes shops, etc. And they become a bit of a nuisance. You know, you're finding that you're trying to get stuff off hangers, or you're trying to get stuff to look at. The helmet's in the way, so you're trying to find somewhere to put it. You put it on the floor and someone trips over it. You find a shelf or something that you can put it on temporarily, and then you can walk off and forget about it. I've done that before today as well. You know, when I'm out with Paula, I've got like, you know, I end up, you know, she's pulling stuff off the racks. I end up with a bundle of clothes under each arm, and I'm holding, I've lost a glove, and I'm holding, you know, coat hangers in my hand, and you just end up sort of semi-paralysed because you've got this helmet. You want to be careful with it. You don't want to bang it around and scratch it. You don't know where to put it, and it's just a nightmare. They're just a liability once you're off the bike. Now, most helmets nowadays come with some sort of dust bag. If you're buying a cheaper helmet, sort of, you know, around about the £100, £150 mark, they'll usually come with that sort of plastic reinforced paper sort of type dust bag. I mean, you can use them while you're walking around. They're not very durable. They give zero protection, really. Or if you buy a more expensive premium helmet, like a Shoei or an Airy or some of the other makes, they will come with quite a nice, robust bag. But although it will prevent the helmet from sort of getting superficial scratches, it doesn't give it much protection. There's a few times, you know, I've had one of these slung over my shoulder in a shop. Sorry, I've just hit my microphone. Sorry about that. In a shop, you'll turn sharply. There'll be some big wrought iron display piece or something that you'll crack it against. There's still a lot of scope for causing damage to your helmet, even with these. And these, I had a look on Shoei's website the other day. They actually sell these separately if yours is worn out, so presumably they don't last forever. Surprisingly expensive for the little protection that they do actually offer. Now, Sam Motone, as you know, is going through his apparel phase, and you know, Sam doesn't do things by halves. He decided that he wanted to make a proper bag that would protect your helmet long term, with plenty of padding that would last for decades. So what he did is he actually approached the aerospace industry. Now, back in the 1950s, pilots' helmets, when they were issued with a pilot's helmet, they would also be issued with a protective bag to keep it safe, because I mean, apparently the prices of aviation grade helmets now are around about $2,500 each. So you need to look after them. So Sam approached this company. They still supply aerospace protection bags, for helmets for the aviation industry, and got them to make some up for them. Now, this is the LIDMASTER motorcycle helmet protector. It's made to the same standards as the aviation helmet bags. As you would expect from Motone, Sam never does anything by halves. This is the highest spec bag on the market. Like I say, this is aviation grade. Now, like everything else with Motone Customs, the custom parts, the new clothing range, everything else, these are made up to a specification, not down to a price. Designed to provide the ultimate protection for your expensive crash helmet. I invested in a Shoei Glamster when I got the CL500 the other week. One of the more expensive helmets that I bought. Lovely helmet, horrible name. I don't know where they came up with that. But nice shiny paintwork, and obviously you want to keep it that way for as long as you possibly can. And it's not just that. Now, I don't know if it's still the same, I've not looked, but generally speaking, manufacturers of helmets would advise you to change them about every 5 years. The reason being that, notwithstanding the fact that you might have had an accident, if you have an accident and the helmet gets a big knock, then it's time to replace it straight away. But helmets do get knocked around, the lead hard lives, and generally speaking, that excess knocking around occurs when you're out and about off the bike, because as I've already explained to you, when you're walking around shops or seaside towns or whatever you happen to be doing, they do get knocked against things, and over time this degrades the safety limits of the helmet. Each time you knock your helmet, a little bit of damage is caused that weakens the shell. So generally speaking, the advice, it depended on the manufacturers obviously, and the quality and the price of the helmet, but I know Shoei used to advise that you replace them at least every 5 years, even if you've not had an accident. So it's advisable to care for your helmet in the best way you possibly can. This helmet was, I think it was £435. That's a lot of dosh to spend on something for you to then go, banging it against brick walls and shelving units and posts and anything else that you might come across when you're out and about. And it does happen. It's done accidentally. I mean, I'm careful with my helmets. My Shoei OJ has a few marks on it, just because of that, because of me carrying it around and occasionally banging it against things. And so it makes sense to invest a little bit of money to look after them. Now, oh God, where do I put this now? Hang it over my mirror and hope for the best. Don't like doing that with that helmet because it doesn't fit very well. Now, this is made from a heavy duty canvas which has been wax impregnated. Basically it's waxed canvas, so it is waterproof. It goes very soft in this hot weather that we're having at the moment, and as you can see, it quickly sort of patternizes from creases, etc. That's just the wonderful thing about waxed fabrics. They sort of take on a personality all of their own. Now the bottom is reinforced. That's got an extra layer of padding and protection in the bottom, and the reason for that is with the aviation style helmets, or the aviation helmets, not style helmets, the 1950 specification stated that they had to be capable of being dropped in these bags from a certain height without suffering any damage. So generally speaking, it would go down bottom first, although there's still quite a lot of padding in the rest of it. It's not just one layer of fabric here. We've got a Cordura lining of some sort, and then a padding in between the outer skin and the inner skin. But the bottom box section has even thicker sort of armour, for want of a better word, to protect the helmet in the event of a drop. Now, suggest that you're free to just sort of start throwing your helmet around in one of these bags. But that was the US Navy or US Air Force specification for protection of the expensive helmets that they were issuing to their servicemen. Now, these are not standard issue anymore, but from what I can gather, servicemen, to follow tradition, still buy these bags from the company that made these, in order to protect the helmets, because they're responsible for them. And as I say, they're about $2,500 each. So if they damage them through negligence, they've got a lot of explaining to do. And these are the bags of choice. As I say, it's got like a quilted Cordura lining on the inside, which protects the bag from scratches. It also will protect it from, you've got quite a thickness of armour between the two. It will protect it from fairly hard knocks, with the most of the protection being at the bottom in case the bag's dropped. Now, this will accept, it's a very generous bag actually, and what did strike me about the size of this, if you do any shopping and either you don't have any panniers or you run out of room in your panniers, once you've got your helmet on, you've got a great bag here to sling over your shoulder, and you can get some excess items in there. The great thing about it obviously is it doesn't just protect your helmet, it will also keep your gloves safe while they're inside. Simple drawstring bag. This actually, I don't think anybody's going to try and nick your helmet off you while you're carrying it, but this obviously is a pretty good security measure, because in order to get that open, they have to put quite a lot of tension on the strap to do that. So if you're wearing it over your shoulder, it's difficult to tamper with the contents of the bag without the owner knowing. It's quite a generous size strap. I think it was even suggested to me that you can use this as a backpack. I think it would just about work even for me. Oh yeah, it does. So if you wanted to stick some excess items in there on your way home, because if you're shopping with Paula, your panniers will be full and there'll be some extra stuff that she needs to store somewhere, you can stick it on your back, use it as a backpack and get those extra items home in it. It's a really good idea. Generally speaking, it's not something I give a lot of thought to. I've just got used to, over the decades, just carrying my helmet around with me, with all the problems that creates. But this is a product that stands alone. I think, when you compare that to, let's say, I won't quote the price because I might misquote it. I think they were about £30 or £40. You compare it to the bag that you get with a good quality helmet. There's no comparison between the two. Okay, it's a little bit bulkier, but that's because it's got those added layers of protection. I'm not going to drop it to prove it, but the specifications back in the 1950s, where I think it was something like they had to be dropped, they had to be safe if they were dropped from the height of 1 metre, and I've got no doubt that actually still holds true with these, although Motone Customs don't make any claims. But yeah, this kind of thing, it's okay as a dust bag. You can even press it into service for carrying your helmet around while you're out and about. That is one of the intended uses for it, but it doesn't give much in the way of protection against anything harder than a very light knock. Now, specification wise, we've got what looks like a nylon rope on here, and a nice little touch that I've seen on the bottom. We've got a military grade carabiner, so when you get home, I don't know, you can hang that up on something. It's detachable anyway. The other thing is, it looks like that's been leather bound here with a nice little piece of black leather to stop it from separating and all getting out of hand. They've done it low down so you can get it over your shoulders and use it as a backpack if necessary. It is traditional to have the name of the squadron, they call them squadrons in America, I'm not sure, to have the name of the squadron or you know, the aviation company embroidered onto the side of the bag. Motone Customs have followed that tradition by having their emblem. This is not a sticker, this has been embroidered into the fabric of the bag, and you know, the whole thing just oozes quality. And if you've got an expensive helmet, well, actually, even if you don't have a very expensive helmet, it's like I say, helmets degrade through being exposed to UV light and getting knocked around while you carry them around. So it's a safety thing as well. You know, there's no way of telling how far gone a helmet is if it's just gone through normal life without a crash, but they do weaken over time through various forces, as I say, like UV light and you know, accidental knocks. It is a safety product as well, so you know, I think they're well worth having. I mean, I love it. Paula immediately fell in love with it and asked if she could have it when it arrived. I said no, but luckily I do have an old prototype from about a year ago that was sent through. That it's smaller, but it's built to the same specifications, so she can have that. Now, Motone Customs, I think there are one or two colour options of this. I've not had a close look. Obviously, the 12% discount that I'll leave in the video description down below will get you 12% off one of these bags. It's like I said, they're built up to a specification, not down to a price. Remember that. So you can get 12% off this through Motone Customs' own UK website using that code, which I'll leave in the video description down below. Personally, I think if you're serious about motorcycling, you're serious about looking after your helmet and your own safety, there's something that you should certainly consider. As I say, I'd always just resign myself to the fact that, you know, you just had to carry your helmet around, but you really don't need to. If you grab yourself one of these bags, and looking at the quality of it, it is typical Motone quality. We've got double stitching everywhere. You know, I would imagine this is going to last 30, 40, 50 years if the wax runs out. I mean, the wax obviously will keep the contents dry in the event of a shower, but you know, all wax canvas can be re-waxed if necessary. There's plenty of dressings out there that you can use to do that. I just think, you know, when Sam mentioned that he was going to do this, I often think, oh no, another crackpot idea. But then when they actually go through production and they become available, I always feel a little bit embarrassed that I felt that way in the first place. And you know, this is a prime example, because when he goes into something, he doesn't just produce something that everybody else is doing. I mean, I don't think there's many people making helmet bags like this, but you know, if you were to tell me to design a helmet bag, certainly I would have built some of the features that this has got into it. But he really has thought of everything, you know, right from the metal eyelets for the you know, for the cord. You know, everything is just designed to be extra strong and to last forever, which is what we've come to expect from Motone Customs. Now, this bottom piece here, it just looks like a different coloured canvas. It's hard to tell because this has got a wax coating on it, and that black has taken the wax coating in a different way. But I think, by the looks of it, they're both the same weave and weight. It's just a contrasting panel, but you know, the clever bit is the additional padding that we've got in the bottom of here to protect the helmet if you do inadvertently drop it. And you know, we've all done it. Quite often when that happens, that's the end of your helmet if you're sensible. So yeah, that's the Motone Customs LIDMASTER. I'll leave a link in the video description down below. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. Please leave a like, hype this video. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. It does help me out. It's free of charge, and you can unsubscribe at any time. I am, of course, going to be back next week. So until then, ride safely, and I'll see you soon.